You know that feeling, right? The moment you learn about something new, it suddenly seems to be absolutely everywhere. Well, there's a name for that, and in this explainer, we're going to break down that exact mental glitch, the frequency illusion.
So it starts off really simple. You're reading an article, maybe watching a show, or just talking to a friend, and this new piece of information just slots into your brain. It could be anything, an obscure word, some historical fact, or even a brand of car you've never really paid attention to before.
And then the weird part happens. The very next day, you hear that word in a conversation. You see that car drive right past you. That concept pops up in a headline. It honestly feels like the universe is conspiring to show you this one thing, over and over and over again.
But here's the thing. It's not a conspiracy, and the world hasn't changed one bit. What you're experiencing has a name. It's the frequency illusion, and it's a really common trick your mind plays on you that reveals something pretty powerful about how we see the world around us.
Okay, so let's get a really clear definition of what's actually going on here. What is this thing, and how does it manage to pop up so much in our everyday lives?
So at its core, the frequency illusion is all about perception. The key idea is that your awareness is the trigger. The thing itself hasn't become more common, your brain has just been primed to spot it. It's also known as the Baader-Meinhof Effect, which, fun fact, got its name after someone learned about the Baader-Meinhof gang and then immediately saw another reference to them. Kind of proves the point, huh?
A definition is great and all, but the best way to really get this is to see how it plays out in the real world. So, what does this actually look like day to day?
This is the classic example, right? You learn a new word, let's say serendipity. Before, it was just background noise, but now your brain has a little file for it, and it actively flags every single time you hear or see it. The word's usage didn't spike overnight, your ability to notice it did.
This happens all the time with stuff we buy. Maybe you're thinking about getting a specific model of car. You do a little research, and bam, suddenly you see that exact car on every street corner. It feels like they multiplied overnight. But nope, the number of those cars on the road didn't change at all, just your recognition of them.
And this applies to big life events too. If you're thinking about getting a puppy, you'll start noticing dogs everywhere, in the park, in commercials, all over your social media. What's happening is your brain is using something called selective attention. It's basically focusing on one thing and ignoring others, highlighting information that matches what you're thinking about, and that creates the illusion of a pattern.
Now, this isn't just some random quirk. There's a really clear reason your brain takes this mental shortcut, and it all comes down to efficiency. I mean, think about it. Your brain is constantly being bombarded with information. There's no way it could process everything. So it creates these little filters to highlight what it thinks is relevant. When you learn something new, you've pretty much just told your brain, hey, this is relevant now. So your brain just turns up its sensitivity and starts pointing out every single time it sees a match.
Okay, so this might all seem pretty harmless, like a fun little mental party trick. But this simple illusion can actually have some surprisingly big consequences for how we make decisions and judgments.
So why should we care? I mean, if it's just about noticing more cars or words, what's the big deal? Well, the problem comes up when we start mistaking our perception for actual reality.
This little illusion can make us see patterns that aren't really there. It can reinforce biases we already have by making it seem like there's evidence for them everywhere we look. It messes with our perception of trends and can even feed into superstitious thinking. And maybe most importantly, it powers up our confirmation bias, our natural tendency to just look for information that confirms what we already believe.
This quote just nails the problem perfectly. Our personal attention is not a reliable tool for measuring objective reality. The moment we start relying on what we happen to notice instead of what we can actually measure, we open ourselves up to all kinds of thinking errors.
But here's the good news. We are not helpless against this little brain glitch. Just by being aware of it, we can take some real steps to think more clearly and critically. So here are 4 ways you can overcome the illusion.
All right, first up, ask for the data. Just because you see it a lot doesn't mean it's a fact. Second, remember that selective attention is a thing. Ask yourself, is this thing actually more common or am I just new to it? Third, if it's really important, actually track it. A simple measurement is the best cure for an illusion. And finally, you got to challenge the patterns you think you see. Just because something's repeating doesn't mean it's growing.
I love this way of thinking about it. When your awareness of something grows, the world related to that thing just feels louder. But that change, it's happening inside your head, not out in the world.
So the next time you learn a new word and suddenly hear it everywhere, or you see that car you just researched on every street, just pause.
This one simple question is your best tool for separating perception from reality. Is it truly happening more often, or are you just finally noticing?